getting in the habit of automating, or at least having automation in your mind, is a great way to save a ton of time and energy over time. So I want to explain a little bit more about this, how you can start to incorporate this into your everyday work, your processes, and just kind of how you set things up so that over time you end up accruing those huge time and energy savings. I'm Adam with the Productivity Academy. Like I said, I wanted to talk a little bit about automation, both the mindset and the practical application of doing that. We're in a time period now where a lot of things can be improved using AI, but at least from the things I'm seeing, there is no push button, hit a button and, oh my gosh, it's all automated. There's a lot of tools out there and some overly complex things I've seen, and people saying, hey, you can use this automation app or do this or connect this and that. And I'm not saying that it can't be done and things will only get better moving forward. But in the meantime, you still need to have a mindset of moving towards automation, of improving your processes to kind of see the results from this. So the first part, and like I mentioned, was the mindset. If you are not looking for opportunities to automate or to take care of these recurring tasks or whatever it is, setup projects, then you're going to miss out in the first place. So a lot of it is reminding yourself to think in that area of, hey, am I doing something on a regular basis? Maybe this is part of your weekly review. Is there something that I can automate, or is there something I could write down a process for? And then to give yourself a little bit of forgiveness, depending on where you're at in this kind of journey, is if you're not used to this at all, maybe you just get used to wherever you're taking some notes, you write down a rough process for something that you have no process for, you're just doing it. Maybe it's creating a note sheet for a meeting you have with a client or for your company. And you say, oh, well, that's something I'm doing. And it's, it may seem small, maybe takes less than 60 seconds or it just takes a minute or two. And you have a quick outline and you're ready to go. But you realize, oh, now that I'm thinking about this in terms of repetition and things I'm doing a lot, that's something that I have to manually do. And just by noticing that, you're part of the way there, and then you can write down, what is it you're doing? Oh, okay, be very specific. I'm creating a new Google Doc, adding a heading, I have a subheading with the dates, and then we have these sections, right? So this is all make-believe. It could be one of many other things. But you now have at least something that could potentially be automated. You could use a LLM, an AI model. You could search online for people who have already automated this process. There's a lot of options there, but now you could look and say, oh, okay, well, I know I'm using a Google Doc and I need this on it and I need, blah, 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 whatever it is. Do you need it in a specific folder, whatever it is, and start looking into how that could be done. And so maybe somebody's done it before and you can just basically take what they've done and, customize it as needed, or it may point you in the direction of, oh, maybe I need to use a different tool, something like that. But once you've got the basics in place, you can now look towards automating. And once you are at the point where you want to start doing this, start simple. I would say, know your background. If you're a developer, you have experience writing code, then you can use some of these more complex tools. But if you don't, try something simple and don't try to automate the most complex tasks. In my example that I just went over, it's a meeting document. And I use this a lot as an example because this is something I did, and the same template has been used for the last 7 years. And it's something I used to do on a weekly basis, and it just took a minute or two, but you start adding that up and it's a crazy amount of time. And it would have been great if I would have done it earlier, but at least I eventually set that up and it's just been running in the background since. And I just used Zapier to do that. Could have been done with any number of tools. But this is the kind of idea of where you start to see some really big time savings from some basic stuff. And then that gives you the ability, once you understand how to use some of these tools, to do some of the more complex things if you need that doing. So a big part of this is just looking at what you're doing through that lens of automation and how I can make things go more smoothly. Having a place to put some process notes. For myself, I'll do like a rough outline in Roam Research and just write down, hey, what is it I'm kind of doing? And then move that into something more formal or hand it off and say, hey, I've noticed I'm doing this. Do I have someone I can delegate this to? And say, hey, this is pretty basic. Could you set up an automation? I don't think we need to do this manual anymore. And again, it could be partially automated. That's another one. So if you're delegating something, maybe there's still something that you just can't automate. But if you can get it 80% of the way there, have someone else finish it off, and you have, for example, a template for the process and say, here's what the end result should be. Make sure you're delegating fully, and then boom, it's done. But 80% of it is done with automation. 20% needs some human editing maybe, and it's off of your plate. So again, a lot of this is just getting in the mindset and looking into how you can do this, the things that pop up, and making note of that. And then remembering, take things simple at first. Don't jump into the deep end and try to automate, something crazy complex. Start simple, build up those skills, and then just make this a recurring thing, whether it's part of your weekly review, a monthly review, quarterly, whatever that is.